You are now listening to WSN, Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
Home of the hottest takes and the best interviews in college radio.
Hold on, wait a minute. We need a little more energy. This is Sports Pack. Yeah, there we go.
Home of the hottest takes and debates.
There is no way I'm going to sit here and roll with Jared Stidham and Aiden O'Connell.
Richard.
There's just no way.
And the best interviews in college radio.
This is five-time Olympic medalist Alana Myers-Taylor.
This is Super Bowl champion quarterback Brad Johnson, and you're listening to Sports Pack on the Wolf Sports Network.
You know what time it is. Wolves Country.
Let's ride.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of Sports Pack. Matter of fact, welcome to our first Monday episode of Sports Pack.
Woo-hoo.
We've had two really weird weeks, 2 straight Thursday shows, but now we are back live every Monday and Thursday. I'm your host, Richard Reed, joined as always by Carlie Pear, Jackson Schrader, and John Howley. How y'all feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
Dude, like a million.
Dude, it's first Monday show. It feels I'm got blood flowing, man.
The first of many.
Oh, yeah. We're keeping this going all semester and next semester, I should add. And we had a great weekend of sports to get into soon.
Ooh.
But I also have other fantastic news. The Wolves Deli Station is returning to West Commons.
What?
Build your own sandwich to your liking as you choose from several different bread, meat, and cheese options. More information is located on the Dine West Instagram at Dine_West. But as always, we got to start off with the West Georgia sports. And it was a big weekend in West Georgia athletics.
It was.
Big road football game versus Abilene Christian. Didn't turn out as we wanted it to. You know, there was a big volleyball tournament hosted here at the University of West Georgia at the Coliseum in Carrollton. It was a great weekend this week. And Schrader, I'm going to throw it to you first. Let's start off with the football team. Very disappointing loss this season after coming off a big-time win against Samford. What did you take away from that game?
Dude, that game was that was just brutal to watch. Not because, we necessarily played terrible. We didn't play great. We just only showed, flashes. I think the best way to describe how that game went is we tried to get rid of momentum, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Anytime we'd get any sort of momentum, we would find a way to either commit a penalty to lose it. You know, we get a chunk play, well, there's a penalty, we're bringing it back, or we score. We make the game a one-possession game. Late in this game, a comeback could be on the horizon, and then we give up 2 straight scores. It was a tough game to watch, but at the same time, there was some good. There was some good quarterback play, and it wasn't a total loss, but it wasn't a great game.
John?
I mean, I didn't watch the game, but I went back through and looked at the stats. It perplexed me a little bit, but I feel like it's also a little bit humbling to us as well, just because this still is a very new team and lots to figure out. But I can't really say too much about it other than knowing that we did swap quarterbacks with Davin and Quinn, and it was just, I don't know. Or not Quinn, Casey, whatever it is.
Quincy,
thank you.
Casey.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I can't really say much on it right now.
I know it's all good. I'll say a little something for you. Schrader, I'm with you 100%. It was like every time we had some things going our way, something terrible will happen, whether it's a big-time penalty, a field goal being blocked. We had 2 field goals blocked that game?
Yep.
Some wide-open passes, drop passes late in the game. As our momentum starting to get going, you can tell West Georgia's about to get in this game. Wide-open touchdown passes, drop. Well, I'm not going to call it a touchdown pass. It was a slant, dropped by Carmelo English, but you could say it would have been a touchdown. Big time plays and big time moments not going the Wolves' way. It was a rough loss. And when I look at this loss, I just think if this West Georgia coaching staff can find a way to iron out those mistakes, get all these players on the same page and ready to go, the sky could be the limit for this team because they're right there in it with them.
Yeah, because everything that went wrong is fixable.
Exactly.
It's fixable. It was drops. It was penalties. We can go into practice and fix it, and we can go win games like this.
Yeah, this team is not bad at all. Great game against Samford. The scoreboard does not tell the whole story. This game was very winnable, and I think this Wolves team can bounce back. I don't know what to say about the quarterback situation right now. I heard somebody told me Davin Widener was hurt. Somebody else told me he wasn't, that he was just nutting up. I was watching the game. I didn't think he was playing terrible. He was doing what he could with the cards he was dealt. But Quincy Casey, the second-string quarterback, came in there and balled out. I'm talking about extending plays, pushing the ball downfield with pinpoint accuracy. Look, this quarterback controversy, like I'm going to call it a quarterback controversy now because now it's a little crazy what's going on. This might just be getting going. We might have a revolving door at quarterback the entire season. And I'm excited to see it because both guys have shown flashes of what they can really be. Now, look, we also had a big-time volleyball tournament that I talked about earlier. University of West Georgia brought in, what was it, UNC –
Asheville.
Yeah, there we go. Because I want to say Nashville. UNC Asheville,
Morgan
State, and Georgia State all came through the Coliseum and played this weekend. And Schrader, I know me and you were at the first game against UNC Asheville. It was very impressive. Very entertaining. The softball team showed up and showed out. They helped me and you out in the student section. It was a great time.
Yeah, I mean, for a second there, we were the student section, which was kind of funny.
It was just us.
And, like, you know, I don't understand volleyball that much. And there were a couple times I caught myself, like, when they switched sides. I didn't realize they switched sides after, like, each set and all that. And I cheer for the wrong team every once in a while. But it was so fun, dude. This volleyball team, they can be something special this year.
Yeah, this volleyball team can be really good. At this weekend, they played UNC Asheville, won 3-1, played against Morgan State, won 3-2. But then in that game on Saturday against Georgia State,
yeah, I was sideline reporting that game, and let me tell you, that Georgia State team is powerful. They got it locked down. I mean, in the very first set, West Georgia was off to a hot start there at the beginning and quickly got knocked up under their feet, if that's how you say that.
Knocked off their feet.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
But, yes, this Georgia State team moves very, very fast, very powerful, and it was really cool to witness, but the Wolves just couldn't take it.
Yeah, it was a tough game, but overall, good weekend. Won 2 out of 3 of the games. Looked pretty impressive while doing it. Look, I'm pretty happy with this West Georgia volleyball team. Got a few big-time Division I wins under our belts. This is another team with great potential. Like look, it was rough against Georgia State, like you said, Carlie. But these other games have looked really, really good. Or should I say matches with volleyball? I don't know, but they look pretty good, and they look pretty good in flashes. Same with the football team.
Yep.
Still, both teams have a lot of mistakes to get ironed out, but over time, I can see both of these teams really coming together.
And let's not forget, our women's soccer team secured their first Division I win against Alabama State. I think they were at Alabama State as well, so pretty big school to play against and to get a win against. So
what was the score?
Congrats to them.
2-1.
Okay.
2-1.
Smooth.
I'll take it. I'll take
So
it
not
all
too
day.
bad,
Plus, no
not too
MMA
bad.
fight. So.
Hey.
Oh yeah, look. I mean, one of these games we got to get round to. We need a rematch, a title defense. We need something.
Dude,
Yeah.
We
that'd
need
be
more
so
action.
funny. Bring a belt. Winner gets the belt.
Imagine how things would go if we had a fight like every other soccer game. The way attendance would spike.
Dude.
We'd have more people than at the football games.
100%.
Oh my
Oh, yeah,
goodness.
It'd
There'd be
good.
standing room only.
It'd be good.
I still think it's great, though, that they got their first win, and just for the head coach, definitely gives you a little confidence there in having your first win. So just, shout out to the soccer team. Give them that all
for
day.
the coaches and players alike, big-time confidence booster going into the next few games this year. Now, University of West Georgia's football team wasn't the only college football team playing this weekend. We ended up having a big-time college football weekend. We
Dude.
kind of joked about that on the Thursday show. But this weekend ended up being big-time. We saw a lot of big-time things from some big-time teams. I'm not going to say big-time again, I promise. But the Texas Longhorns looked big-time against the Michigan Wolverines. They showed up and showed out. And, look, they showed a team up north
Yep.
who should be national championship favorites this year. The Texas Longhorns went out, I want to say grabbed the bull by the horns, but they just went out there and manhandled Michigan. Out-physicaled them. Quinn Ewers looked fantastic. I've doubted Quinn Ewers his entire college career, but that game right there shut me up. They looked good. Schrader. Look, you see I'm struggling to get my words out right now.
Dude.
How did you feel about that game?
So, last week I said I thought Texas was going to go in there and win big. Luckily, I was right. Doesn't happen that much. But, Texas manhandled is the best way to say it. Because this is a Michigan team, 80 rushing yards.
Crazy.
I don't know if I've been alive and Michigan's gotten under 100 rushing yards. That's Michigan football. Look at how they won the national championship last year. They just gave the ball to Corum and just said, go.
Do it.
And
Just be more-
Texas.
they pride themselves on running the ball and being more physical than the other team.
Yeah.
And Texas just blew them off the line of scrimmage.
It's wild. I'm still I said they were going to win big, but I'm shocked that they just did what they did.
Dude, that game silenced a lot of doubt for me that I had deep down for the Texas teams because we knew Quinn Ewers was decent. I thought he was just a good quarterback, but he showed that he showed on Saturday that he can be a really good quarterback. But the main thing with Texas for me was how is their offensive line and their defensive line going to stack up against the big-time schools like Alabama, like Georgia. This year, Ole Miss's O and D line looks pretty good. I was wondering how they were going to fare against that other big-time SEC competition. But Michigan's about as close as you can get outside of the SEC, and they looked pretty darn good doing it. So now going into this, I'm thinking it's going to be a race to the finish line between Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Ole Miss. We've got some juggernauts this season.
Yeah.
We also had a juggernaut fall. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish lost to Northern Illinois. Whew. Who wants to jump in first? What in the heck just happened?
I think it was a bunch of miscues for Notre Dame. I mean, Riley Leonard, as we know, didn't play the greatest, and they paid Northern Illinois, I think, $1.4 million for them to come up to Notre Dame. And when you are a top 5 team, this game should be nothing to you. You should beat the brakes off them no matter what. This is a good test to show how good your team is. But a team like Northern Illinois come in there, get that $1.4 million, go back home with a win. That's darn shameful for Notre Dame. Notre shame right there after that game.
Yeah, I don't really know how to feel about the Marcus Freeman era at Notre Dame right now. This is their second big-time loss of that nature. They lost to Marshall. Was that last year or the year before?
Yeah.
This is the second time they've paid a school like this to come out, and they've just flat out got outplayed. Northern Illinois outplayed Notre Dame the other day. I keep wanting to say yesterday, but it was Saturday. But I was watching football all day yesterday. Stay tuned for talking about that. But Northern Illinois just straight up outplayed them. They beat them off the line of scrimmage. Their wide receivers could get no separation. Their transfer quarterback, Riley Leonard, who came in from Duke, he's looked lost the first 2 weeks of the season. Originally, I was thinking maybe it's because how good Texas A&M's defense was, but maybe Riley Leonard just isn't the guy we thought he might have been.
Yeah, that's something else we need to point out. Like, this Notre Dame team walked into a sold-out Kyle Field and won.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how talented A&M is. That's an insanely hard thing to do. So this isn't like, Michigan when they lost to App State and that Michigan team ended up not being that great. This Notre Dame team is good. So Northern Illinois, I still don't even know how they did it. But they did it, and that's the beauty of college football.
Exactly. Like you said, that is the beauty of college football. Another big-time game from this past weekend. The Tennessee Volunteers put the beat down on the NC State Wolfpack. Now, look, I got family that went to NC State. They ain't happy. They ain't too happy with me for this. When I picked Tennessee to beat them and beat them bad on Thursday, they had some things to say. Sorry, DD, but Tennessee dropped 50 on you boys. It ain't looking too hot. But Tennessee, oh my goodness, do they look great. The mix of offense and defense, Nico Iamaleava at quarterback. Watch out for Tennessee in this SEC race.
Yeah, I mean, that defense, man. That defense is insane. And just a quick thing to point out, Nico didn't have his great game, but 9 different players caught the ball.
Exactly.
That's a big-time quarterback right there. And he's a freshman, so that's insane.
It's crazy. Go ahead, John.
Well, one thing I'm looking at here is, like you said, Nico didn't have the greatest game. Not that he still went out there and absolutely balled, but their running game absolutely just dominated with Dylan Sampson with 132 yards. But I also see Nico in there with 65 yards. That shows you how versatile he is, and that made me a little scared right there with Nico. So I'm definitely watching him.
I really feel like this Tennessee team just put the entire nation on notice. When I look at Tennessee and look at what they just did against NC State team with quarterback Grayson McCall, a very solid defense, really solid skill position players up and down the field, offense and defense. That's not a bad team whatsoever. And Tennessee just went in there and dominated them. Not just overwhelming them with that Josh Heupel offense, but also just pounding them defensively. That's been the problem with Tennessee the past few years. Even a few years ago when they beat Alabama, they had Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt and all those guys. Their defense was the weakness. That's how teams were able to expose them. Even when they beat Alabama, Alabama had over 45 points on that Tennessee team. But now it's looking like Tennessee has some sort of mix between good, maybe even elite defense with what we already know is going to be an elite Josh Heupel offense. With teams like Notre Dame dropping, Oregon hasn't been looking too hot, it's starting to look like Tennessee might find a way to sneak into this 12-team playoff picture this season.
Yeah. I mean, they look good, bro. That defense is insane. I mean, I don't know. I'm still stuck on that defense. I mean, the turnovers, like Grayson McCall. I remember we were watching the game together, and right after I said, "Man, I like Grayson McCall," he got sacked.
Yep.
Like it was comical,
and
but
then threw an ugly pick six.
Yeah,
So he didn't even have that good of a game.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
that
15 for
NC State
22,
offense.
104 yards is not pretty.
Yeah, that NC State offense isn't a joke. So to hold him to 10 points, and then the offense scoring 51, that's complimentary football at its finest, and that's going to lead to one heck of a season.
Yeah, Tennessee's looking really good, and I'm going to go back to the SEC for a second and talk about Tennessee in this conversation. You have Tennessee now who's showing what they can be. We had Missouri last year who showed flashes not even showed flashes, they straight up showed what they could do. They were one good drive away from beating the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens last season. Let's not overlook that. Tennessee with Cook at quarterback and Luther Burden and Theo Weiss at receiver, that is a force to be reckoned with. You still have Alabama. Texas is showing what they can really be. Ole Miss is really trying to put the entire country on notice this season. We might see five, maybe six SEC teams sneak into this 12-team playoff because Oregon's been struggling. I'm not sure how they're going to match up against Ohio State coming up in the next few weeks. Notre Dame already went down. We have other teams in that top 25 mix, like an Arizona that's been struggling against food these past few weeks. This playoff picture is starting to fall apart in ways that none of us might have thought it was going to happen. Now, look, let's go ahead and keep moving. I know we want to do some player spotlights today. Schrader, I'm going to throw it to you first. Who really impressed you this past weekend?
Kyle McCord just put the nation on, like,
Alert.
he said, look at me. That man, it was insane what he did this week. I mean, last week against Ohio, he had an okay game. Threw a pick. The team started off slow. But Syracuse, man, against Georgia Tech.
They were incredible.
As a Florida State fan, I know Georgia Tech's got a good defense. And Kyle McCord went out there and just pieced them up. He threw for 381 yards and 4 touchdowns, no picks. But the really important thing is he had a 69.6 completion percentage. He was efficient with the ball. He balled out. And I mean, early season Syracuse, I always just got to say I can't doubt them. Like those first 6 games, Syracuse is going, we're going to be bowl eligible. We might not win after that, but this season Kyle McCord already has 735 yards, 8 touchdowns and 1 pick. I mean, he's balling.
It's been incredible. This Syracuse team behind new head coach Fran Brown, who came over from the University of Georgia, dude, they look great. They hit the transfer portal hard. We talked about them on Thursday's show, and we all picked Georgia Tech, but we were all saying the same thing. Don't be surprised if Syracuse wins this game or if they keep it close. And they went out and took that game. Georgia Tech made it a fight towards the end, but it was really never in doubt. Syracuse was manhandling Georgia Tech the entire time. And it was crazy. And looking back at it, last season, Kyle McCord at Ohio State, he had any weapon he could have wanted at his disposal. Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison Jr., crazy fringe top 3 defense in college football behind him, and he just never looked comfortable. He never looked confident. But now seeing him at Syracuse, it's like, what is different? The only thing I can think of is how Ryan Day ran him off this past offseason. I feel like now that the coaching staff is all in on him, similar to what Tua was saying a few weeks ago when talking about Mike McDaniel, when your coach is fully bought in on you, and when your coach believes in you, it lights a fire deep down. It makes you really want to go out and play for that coach. And that's what I really think is happening with Kyle McCord at Syracuse. He is taking his game to the next level. And, of course, his weapons are good, but they're nowhere near what they were at Ohio State. And the way he's been balling against, like you said, a really good Georgia Tech team, man, I don't know what to say, but congratulations, Kyle McCord, making the entire country look stupid.
I mean, something you really got to look at is you think of the culture at Ohio State. There's one thing that matters, and that's beating the team up north. And, I mean, you go all season, and you hear, if they don't beat them, this guy's gone. Like, Ryan Day's job it lies in the balance of one game, and it was the same thing for Kyle McCord. That fan base didn't want him after an undefeated season but a loss to Michigan. And I think coming here, he doesn't have that pressure. It's Syracuse. Nobody's watching. He just gets to go play ball for a coach that was 100%, like you said, bought in. And I think that pressure being taken off the back of his mind is just letting him play to his full potential. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, I love to see it. I really love to see it. And we're about to take a quick song break, but I do want to mention one more team. Do not sleep on Boise State. A lot of people have had Boise State penciled into their playoff brackets this year, and it's for good reason. Because, oh, my goodness, they have a running back that is leading the pack in Heisman voting right now. If I was to cast a vote for Heisman, which I don't have a vote yet, maybe I'll have one by next year, maybe by the time it's time to vote on the Heisman, he'd get my vote. Boise State pushed Oregon to the limit. Oregon really should have lost that game a few times. They had a punt return and a kickoff return for a touchdown. Other than that, their offense was sputtering. Watch out for Boise State. They're going to shoot them, maybe USF. Look, I look good with that USF.
Yes, I really like that
They
USF.
impressed against Alabama this past weekend.
That was really good.
Look, that race for that last spot in the 12-team playoff, they might even not even the last spot. But the race to represent the G5 in this 12-team playoff, It's going to be a good one to keep your eye on. Stay tuned for that. And also stay tuned because when we get back, we're going to talk some sports news in the NFL.
Hey, this is Andy Bunker from 92.9 The Game, and you're listening to the Wolf Sports Network.
What's going on, all you out there listening in the live chat right now? Well, listening on either the YouTube stream or the Twitch stream. I just want to remind y'all that we are indeed a radio station first, and as of right now, we're taking a quick song break. So if you want to listen to the music that we're playing right now, go ahead and go to wolfsportsnetwork.com, hit the play button at the top of the screen, and listen to the great music that we're playing. If not, stick around, just stay tuned for the YouTube stream because we will be back very, very soon. But I do want to hear from y'all a little bit in the live chat. I hope y'all actually interact with me this time. Who has really caught you off guard this year in college football? Because I know Schrader just spent some time talking about Kyle McCord and the Syracuse Orangemen. Well, we've got some other teams out here that are really catching a lot of people off guard. NIU just made their way into the top 25. I mean, there are some really good teams out here, so let us know down in the live chat who has really been impressing you. And if you could go ahead and be quick about it and say it before the song break over, maybe we can have a quick little back and forth about it. Talent is overcoming that nonsense. Yeah, we got a lot of people talking about Kyle McCord, talking about how his talent is starting to outshine the nonsense that was happening at Ohio State.
Really, Oregon shocked me with the first two games they played and the scores I'm like, what's going on? This Dan Lane Oregon that we've seen originally. Like, what's going on?
Oregon's been terrible.
Oh, I know.
Oregon has been nothing short of terrible.
Only the unis are good.
Dude, and when they get into Big Ten play, I don't know if they're going to survive. Even when they play USC, a team that was formerly in the Pac-12 with them, long live the Pac-12, USC looks well improved. Their defense looks much better. It has 2 weeks in a row. That offense behind Miller Moss is going to be there. It's a Lincoln Riley offense. They're always going to be potent. USC might mess around and beat Oregon this year. They might they probably beat Michigan. But there's a good chance There's a good chance they drop to Ohio State as well and Michigan. I mean, Oregon might not survive Big Ten play.
I don't. It's really shaking. I thought Oregon was going to win the Big Ten by chance. So we'll be back soon.
My team sucks and I'm mad as heck. Jason Kelsey made me cry at the press. But never fear, cause Saquon's here. Goodness gracious, I'm fired up. Tune in to Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesday at 5 to check out our hit segment, Fire Me Up. Only on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here, now in Odyssey Station.
The Dodgers introducing Shohei Ohtani after signing him to a record-breaking contract.
Nick Saban is retiring.
Breaking news on Sports Pack. So, we got some sports news in this show for you. There's a lot that's happening that's not just about football, so I do want to bring some attention to it because we are Sports Pack, not Football Pack. That I like to remind the guys a lot. But the U.S. Open ended yesterday, and if you don't know what the U.S. Open is, it's the one of the 4 major tournaments that is in the U.S. It's in New York. And for the men's, we saw Sinner from Italy against Taylor Fritz, an American. However, Sinner won in straights, so he won best 3 out of 5, went straight through 3. So it was kind of sad for Taylor Fritz because he would have been the first American to win it in a really, really long time, which is really sad that an American hasn't won the American tennis tournament in so long, but it's fine.
No, that definitely sucks.
Yeah,
Can you imagine losing a home game every year? Like, what are we doing?
Exactly.
But Sinner also he was kind of getting blasted on the media for having steroids and stuff, and
yes.
he proved him wrong because apparently it was like it was slipped in or something with one of the massages he's at. I don't know, but for him to go out there at least, yeah. But for him to go out there and win that, it's a good statement win for him. So props to Sinner right there.
And look, if we win one more U.S. Open, I'm gonna go ahead and suit up. Look, I'm known around town for my insane tennis skills. I go with my friends in tennis all the time. So if I gotta go out there and win
tennis, right?
No, I'm talking in real life tennis.
Okay.
I'm talking
Okay.
racket in hand on the court, green balls.
I can see it.
Not blue, green ones, all the time. Look, I'm out there getting it in. So look, if it comes down to it, I will go out there and win us a U.S. Open myself. I will get it done.
Good luck. On the women's side, in the finals, we had Sabalenka and excuse me if I pronounce this American's name wrong.
Just go for it.
Give me the best shot.
Pegula, I think is how you say her last name.
Sounds right to me.
Sabalenka won her second major. She won the Australian Open earlier this year. So, again, another American in the finals didn't secure that. But I do want to mention Emma Navarro. She was in the semifinal against Sabalenka and really has just balled out. I mean, this is her second time in the U.S. Open. Last year, she went in for the first time, lost in the first round, and then came back this year and made it all the way to the semifinals. So I think that's a good statement for her and her talent as well. She played at Virginia and won the NCAA Singles Championship in 2021, and she's the only women's singles NCAA champion to reach the U.S. Open finals. So really good statement win for her. But yeah, really cool to see.
What's going on with America not winning this, man?
Yeah, this
I'm
isn't
a
fun anymore.
little shocked.
Look, when I suit up, we're gonna get it done.
No, I know you get it done, but still.
Look, that's what I'm saying. Don't worry about it now. Don't worry about it next year. But when I get there in 2 years, look, I'm putting the world on notice.
Put the world
Stay
on
tuned.
blast.
That international talent with tennis is insane. But moving on,
No Rich Reed.
another thing that sparked the media yesterday, Tyreek Hill. On his way to the game, got detained, and there's a lot of mixed feelings about that. He had a statement after, things like that. What's y'all's quick opinions on that?
Scotty Scheffler and Tyreek Hill have told me one thing. If I ever want to do something amazing at a sporting event, I got to find a way to get arrested first, and then I can go do it, because Tyreek Hill played a great game. He dropped like 33 fantasy points. Scotty won the Masters or whatever when that went on. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm glad the whole Tyreek Hill situation was able to be worked out. I heard that I was watching First Take this morning, and Calais Campbell was on there talking about how some of the Miami Dolphins security team went out there to get everything sorted out. It was a really interesting situation. Now look, I don't know all the details about it. I'm not down in South Florida getting my hands dirty investigating. But the first thing I thought of was, okay, Tyreek Hill was detained, pulled out of his car, pinned on the ground, handcuffed, all that kind of stuff went down. But he was able to get everything settled out in, 25, 35 minutes and still be able to go suit up and have a great game. All I could think about was, what if that man was not Tyreek Hill?
And that's what he said in his press conference.
Exactly. And I love the fact that he said that, because that's what I was thinking when it first happened. Shoot, what if it was me out there? I tell you what, I wouldn't have gotten out in about 35 minutes. I'd probably still be in a holding cell somewhere just getting out right now since it's Monday morning. Well, I probably would have just gotten out Monday morning, probably late Monday evening. So I'm not really sure all that was going on. I'm sure more and more information will come out as time goes on. But it really seems like a very unfortunate situation. And Tyreek Hill is very blessed to be who he is, because he was able to get everything sorted out. Because if it was just a regular guy like me, I probably wouldn't have gotten out to this morning, maybe the end of this week.
I was gonna say, but what about that touchdown celebration he had, though?
That was
crazy.
That was funny.
I'm just glad. I'm glad it all got sorted out, and he just got suited up and dropped some good points in me for fantasy, even though I still lost. So I'm just glad he ended up sorting it out. That's what I'm glad to see.
Yep. On the WNBA side, rookie Angel Reese is out for the season due to a hand injury, and she's set to have surgery tomorrow. She actually came out with a video saying, like, people are saying I faked this, but I didn't. Like, this is what the deal is. So, really interesting seeing that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see. I mean, she was playing good ball. A lot of people say all her rebounds were offensive rebounds because she's missed so many shots. But the bottom line is Angel Reese has been balling, and that Rookie of the Year race was really heating up because after this Olympic break, Caitlin Clark has taken her play to the next level. So now it's obvious who's going to win Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. But it was a great storyline developing. Well, not even developing. A great ongoing storyline, I should say, between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese carrying over from college to see who was going to win Rookie of the Year. And like I said, it's pretty obvious who was going to win it now. Caitlin Clark's been shattering the assist records and has also had insane scoring feats since the Olympic break to match it. It's been really impressive. It was a great season overall. Angel Reese had a really good season. I'm excited to see what she does throughout the rest of her career. But now we know Caitlin Clark is going to win Rookie of the Year in the WNBA.
And our last sports news point we have, the Professional Women's Hockey League just released the logos for their 6 inaugural teams. Jackson, I'm going to throw it to you since you're our hockey buff.
Yeah, hockey buff. I love hockey. I just think this is great. You know, growing the game, it's something that's really been happening is a lot of people realize how fun hockey is to watch. If you haven't watched it, just sit down and watch hockey. Pick a team. I don't care who it is. You just need to watch the sport. But this Women's Hockey League is huge because it's going to give more girls a chance to jump into the athletic sphere. It creates more jobs for media-wise, and I think it's going to be really fun to watch because women's hockey, it's pretty entertaining. It's fast-paced. It's very comparable to men's hockey.
In the NFL, only one thing matters: chasing a dynasty. Now look, all that was great. The U.S. Open was fantastic. I was able to get a chance to watch it. But do you know who was also at the U.S. Open watching the game?
Oh, my gosh.
Who? Travis Kelce. And you know what he was doing? He had his phone propped up watching NFL Red Zone. Exactly what I was doing yesterday as well. All day, glued to my couch, got up. No, I'm not going to say what I was going to say because I was going to sound crazy. But it was an amazing day of football yesterday. Starting off with the hometown Atlanta Falcons taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, you see, my tone went down a little bit because the Falcons lost in what was a really, really ugly game. Unless you're a Steelers fan, it was a very ugly game for the hometown Falcons, losing to the Steelers 18-10, somehow without giving up a single touchdown. It was ridiculous. Losing 18-10 on all field goals. John, I'm going to throw it to you first. You're our resident Falcons fan on the show. How do you feel about yesterday?
I'm not the most upset because there's a lot that went into it. It's a whole new offense. Zach Robinson was calling his first game, which, I mean, honestly, it's a big props to him as OC. It's a lot to go through. But there's one thing I just have to highlight with Caleb McGray getting his lunch money taken from TJ Watt. I mean, dude, you couldn't anticipate a single thing that he had for you. Go to Velocity out in Holly Springs and go train with them because I'm telling you what, they'll make you much better to go against TJ Watt. I was mad about the offensive line play throughout the game. And you just got your I know it's TJ Watt, but you just got it taken from you. Like,
yeah, but that's my whole thing. It's TJ Watt. And
yeah.
When watching that game, I couldn't help but think, yes, Kirk Cousins looked rough, threw 2 interceptions. No interceptions, a good pick. They were both bad interceptions. The offense kind of sputtered. Outside of Bijan Robinson, who looked pretty good in flashes in the pass game and the running game, the offense struggled. The defense looked really well, especially in the red zone. Outside of big-time plays from George Pickens, they never let him punch it in. They won on 1,000 field goals from the Boz. I mean, Boz might win MVP this year, the way he's been playing for the Steelers. But like the way I view it, I'm not ready to sell all my Kirk Cousins stock. I'm still bought in on the Atlanta Falcons. I was high on this team before. I'm still high on them now. They faced a really, really, really tough defense for a quarterback just coming off an Achilles and for an offensive coordinator in his first time ever calling plays, and you go up against TJ Watt, the Mike Tomlin-led Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, it doesn't get much more difficult than that. I'm not selling on my Falcon stock yet. I'm still bought in, but it was a tough team to play week 1.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it wasn't fun. It was an ugly game. Offensive line did not play great football, but the defense did. And I think that's really important because if the offense can fix a couple of the mistakes, then we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think overall the Steelers had a very strong defense that, Kirk Cousins and the offense just couldn't go up against. I mean, his first game since October 29th, coming off of an injury, he threw 16 of 26 for 155 yards, and like Richard said, those 2 interceptions, not an impressive play, especially for how much money they just paid you for.
Exactly,
so,
that 4-year deal.
Right. So not really impressed with the Falcons, and no hate towards the Falcons. Let me make that clear, but not impressed with them yet.
Yeah, it was a rough game, and like I said, I'm not selling my Kirk Cousins stock yet. I still think this team is going to improve. It's week 1. This first 3-game stretch is pretty rough. Monday Night Football in Philadelphia next, then coming back home to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not going to be an easy stretch at all. But I do think this Falcons team is going to improve. A lot of people are saying throw Michael Penix in there. Let's be patient. It's going to be his team.
Give Kirk his time.
Look, I've been seeing it on Twitter, on Instagram. People are saying they drafted Michael Penix for a reason. It's foreshadowing. His time is coming, but not yet. This team is going to get turned around. Trust me. And trust me, but don't quote me, because if it don't happen, it's not my fault. Now, another big-time game from yesterday. The Detroit Lions hosting the LA Rams, an overtime thriller last night for Sunday Night Football. It was incredible. I feel like it's must-see TV every time Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford face off against each other. For one, the storylines. Yeah. Those 2 players are traded for each other. Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl in L.A., but now it's looking like Super Bowl season for the Detroit Lions. They looked great. Jamison Williams put the country on notice, showing everybody that it's not just a one-receiver room out there in Detroit. He's still there. He looked like how he looked at Alabama his last year in college football when he was an All-American, first-round draft pick. He looked great. Jameer Gibbs in that offensive line, the defense, they all looked great. The Lions were flying around. Schrader, I'm going to throw it to you first. You got on that Lions blue right now. How did you feel about last night's game?
Dude, I mean, given the fact that they're my Super Bowl pick, I was pretty darn happy. They jumped out to a 17-3 lead, almost choked that one away. That was kind of a little disheartening, but the whole team played great. Jared Goff had about as okay of a game as a quarterback can have, and that team still played the way they did. And I think it's really important to note, Cooper Kupp just silenced all the doubters.
He went crazy.
Oh my goodness. With Puka going down, Cooper Kupp, I guess he was the guy, and he let everybody know he was the guy, and he played an outstanding game. Matthew Stafford, he was making some insane throws. Had a couple no-look throws. I was watching this game thinking the same thing you were, Richard. This might just be the next big rivalry in the NFL.
Oh, I definitely agree.
I think it's great that the Lions won. That's my second favorite team right there with the Lions. Yeah, I got the hoodie on to represent it. So I just think it's a great job by Jared Goff and the rest of the team. Really saving that comeback in overtime and that final play where they ran it in. The whole offensive line just bulldozed the Rams. Now, if Aaron Donald was there, I'd say it'd be a different story. But
he's gone now.
He's gone, but they bulldozed it. David Montgomery walked in. He dominated the ground game for the Lions. I was very happy. So it was great to see at least one of the teams I like win.
There was another big-time game yesterday, and it really changed the way I was viewing a team. There was a team that played yesterday and really impressed. And going into this season, I was a little 50-50 on them. I was like, this team could be really great if this player does really well, and he did. Anthony Richardson pulled through. In a losing effort against the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts looked fantastic. And now my way of thinking about the entire AFC South picture has been shifted because the Jaguars, even though they dropped to the Dolphins, they looked good yesterday. The Titans, they're okay. They dropped to the Bears. It's a really good defense. I think we can all agree they're going to become fourth place in that division. But between the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Colts, I think we've got a heck of a race in this AFC South. What do y'all think?
Them Texans are pretty good, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, the Texans look good.
No, they looked great. And Joe Mixon, I was very shocked by Joe Mixon and his run game with 159 yards and a touchdown. Just to see that to come over from Cincinnati and go straight into the system of the Texans, that's awesome. I think that's awesome. And really one thing that also stood out to me was Alec Pierce for Indianapolis. I didn't even know who that man was until I saw that game.
Alec Pierce was around.
He put on a show, and I'm just saying, I'm very impressed. Great game overall, especially the throw Anthony Richards did after he slipped. I know he took 2 steps up after that, but still a rocket of a throw. So very well played game, and I'm just happy my Super Bowl pick, went 1-0.
Anthony Richardson was incredible. That game was really in their grasp. He overthrew A.D. Mitchell twice on two bombs that would have been 2 50-plus yard touchdowns. That game was won. And that's all Anthony Richardson tweaking his accuracy, being a little more accurate down the field. He hit 2 big-time shots to Alex Pierce early in the game. But if he hits on one of those deep balls to A.D. Mitchell, it's a whole different ball game. We're talking about how the Texans were just upset against the upstart Indianapolis Colts. But the way I'm looking at Anthony Richardson and this Colts team, they're very, very young. He's young. Their receiver room's young with A.D. Mitchell and Alec Pierce. Jonathan Taylor's still there. Young defense that can be better. But at a big test in week 1, this is a team that's going to continue to get better and better every single week. Look, if I'm the AFC, I'm a little nervous now that the Colts are good as well because the AFC as a whole is loaded. So now that you have an Anthony Richardson firing on all cylinders like he was on Sunday, I'm terrified if I'm another team in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Richardson is a specimen. I don't even know like a different way to describe him.
I feel like that's the best way.
Especially with his stature. Dude, he's a freaking
ridiculous.
He's ridiculous. He's just going to get better.
Runs a 4.3, arguably has the strongest arm in the NFL. There's nobody out here like AR-15. Closest comparison I can make is Cam Newton.
Yeah.
But good Lord, Anthony, watch out for AR-5 and those Indianapolis Colts. They're going to mess around and be in the playoffs this year. You can book it. Now, stay tuned. We're going to take a quick song break. When we come back, we're going to be talking Jets and 49ers Monday Night Football and making our game predictions.
Hey, guys, this is Bobby Butler, and you're listening to Sports Pack only on the Wolf Sports.
Real quick reminder, y'all, this is Richard Reed here. Just here to remind you all that we are indeed a radio station first, and right now we're taking a quick song break. So if you want to listen to the great music that we're playing right now, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and hit that small blue play button in the top left corner of the screen to listen to the radio stream. You can also stay tuned later and listen to the show as well, but if you just want to listen to the music, click that button in the top left corner. Listen to the great music that we're playing, but stay tuned. When we come back in a couple minutes, we will be talking Monday Night Football, arguably the biggest game of Week 1. Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets making their return against a very hungry and some might even say desperate San Francisco 49ers team. Stay tuned. We're making our picks when we get back.
this year. No mercy. 2 twins. Only one survives.
To make that play, Fernando has to be at his feet.
Hey, listen. Hey, can I talk? You did enough talking, bud. It's time for Twin Picks on Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesday at 5 on the Wolf Sports Network.
Dining dollars are available to use at East Commons Pack Shack, TLC, Noonan Micro Mart, and in any Coca-Cola vending machine on campus. More information can be found at the UWG Dine West Instagram at UWG_Dine_West. Now look, enough is enough. We've talked about everything today. We've talked college football. We've talked U.S. Open. We've talked about Dine West and the dining dollars and the amazing food that you can find in the deli build-your-own sandwich stations.
Yes, sir.
But this is probably the most important thing we've talked about on Sports Back all year. Now, yes, this is only our 3rd episode, but this right here is huge. Last year on 9/11, there was a tragedy. Aaron Rodgers fell and tore his Achilles and was out for the entire season. And the New York Jets season last year took a nosedive. But this year, it's time. It's time for redemption. Once again, on Monday Night Football, the New York Jets, a healthy New York Jets team, rebuilt, retooled offensive line, rebuilt Aaron Rodgers, are taking on the San Francisco 49ers in what is probably the most highly anticipated game of this weekend. John Howley, I'm going to throw it to you first. Who do you like in this game and why?
First off, I know it's going to be a great matchup. We know the 49ers are loaded, and they've got a great team behind them. You got Trent Williams, obviously one of the best left tackles ever. But I have been missing Aaron Rodgers so much. To see that man under center and hear Green 18, I've been waiting to see Aaron Rodgers back out there. The Jets have Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, like you said, the retooled O-line. They got a solid defense. I am so riding with the Jets tonight. I want to just take off into that W with the Jets, man. I think they get it done. And I think Aaron Rodgers, when he says that Green 18, man, they win it all day long. Aaron Rodgers is going to get done.
So we can book it. John Howley, you are taking the New York Jets to win tonight on Monday Night Football.
Absolutely you can.
Man, I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to shake your hand. Schrader.
All right, Richard.
I'm
sorry to disappoint you, buddy, but I'm going to have to go with the 49ers tonight. Right. Now, it's not necessarily like I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do great. I think it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a really close game, but at the same time, I'm a little cautious simply because Aaron Rodgers coming back from an injury, he's done it before. I have all the faith in the world, but he's not necessarily a young quarterback anymore.
Still
he's
Aaron
older,
Rodgers.
and I think he's going to have a phenomenal season. I just think these first couple of weeks are probably going to have some growing pains. Same with this Jets team. I think this 49ers team's a lot more established. They fixed a lot of the monetary issues that they've had to deal with in the offseason.
Yep.
And I just think they're a stronger roster. They're one of the best rosters in the NFL. But the thing that really gives the 49ers the edge is the fact that it's in San Francisco.
Yeah.
This game was in New York. I would probably pick the Jets, but I'm going to go for San Francisco because they're at home, and I just think Aaron Rodgers is not going to come out and throw for like 400 yards and 4 touchdowns in this game.
How are you feeling, Carlie?
I think with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to have to take the Jets.
Ooh.
Because, yes, the 49ers are hungry. They're emotionally distraught, probably still, from being only plays away from winning the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I just think with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, we've seen it. We might see it again. But also, their defensive coordinator that they just hired was just from the the Jets. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying this right.
You saying the Jets DC was the 49ers' former DC?
Yes.
There we go.
So I think that's going to help the Jets a lot tonight, especially also being back in the Bay Area. So I'm going to have to take the Jets.
I'm really happy with what's been going on these past couple minutes. Two of who I say might be the biggest haters on Sports Pack pick the New York Jets to win this game on Monday Night Football.
I love Aaron Rodgers. What you mean?
I'm just saying, look, just
How
chatting
am I
a
a
little-
hater?
Look, you're an Auburn fan. That pretty much makes
That
everything
doesn't
you
mean
say
I'm a
null and
hater.
void. And, I mean, you hated on the Falcons a little while ago. You called
when did
Florida
I do
State
that?
overrated. You were kind of right on both.
Okay, I will
but it
hate on
doesn't
Florida
matter.
State. That's fair.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Y'all picked the New York Jets. I like y'all today. If y'all been watching Sports Pack the past couple episodes, I picked the New York Jets to win the Super Bowl. I'm extremely high on the New York Jets. I believe that Aaron Rodgers is one of, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. So am I taking him tonight to win this football game? No, I am not.
Let's go, Richard.
When I look at this New York Jets team, it is a team with tremendous upside. As you know, I'm high on them. I just went through the entire list of things. I picked them to win the Super Bowl this year. But Aaron Rodgers has been out for an entire year, a catastrophic Achilles injury. And they are about to play against one of the best defenses in the National Football League. I do believe this is going to be a good game, but it's really going to be a defensive slugfest. The Jets have a top 5 defense in the NFL, and so do the 49ers. I think it's going to be a really good game. We're going to see flashes of how great this Jets offense can be. When I look at this 49ers team, I think they're going to have a little more together, probably a little bit of rust from Brandon Ayuk after sitting out for after sitting out for big money this past preseason. Let me not even downplay the situation. Trent Williams is back as well. We already know who Trent Williams is. He's a dog. It's going to be a really good game. Like I said, we're going to see flashes of what the Jets can be. But I think they're going to be a little rusty. I'm with you, Schrader. It's going to take a few weeks for this to get going. Look, even in those MVP years, in some of Aaron Rodgers' last years with the Green Bay Packers, one of the MVP years, they started off 0-1. They were blown out by the Saints, embarrassed by the Saints. They had another tough loss in Week 1 in his second straight MVP season. I think this is going to be another slow start. But once the Jets get going, the sky's the limit for the Jets once they get going. I like what I did there. But I think the 49ers are going to win this game tonight, probably with the score of, I'd say 24-20. It's going to be a bit of a closer game. We're going to see flashes from both offenses, but both defenses are going to shine. And that's all the time we've got for Sports Back tonight. It's been a great episode. I appreciate y'all tuning in this Monday evening, and get used to it because we will be live every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7, same bat time, same bat channel. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. To my cast, Carlie Pear, Jackson Schrader,
Yes, sir.
John Howley, wish you a very good night. Go Jets, and God bless. You are now listening to WSN.